A recent decision by the Met Police to promote an officer who was involved in the shooting of Chris Kaba has sparked public outrage. The officer's promotion, despite the serious nature of the incident, has raised questions about accountability of the police force. Public backlash has emerged, with many questioning the standards upheld by the Met. This has been covered by multiple news outlets, including BBC and The Telegraph.
Let me ask you a question, people. Him not do him job? What is the police's job? Is it not to serve and protect? Is it not to rid us of the pestilences in the community? My man, him did a good you or am a gunman? Which one? Remind me, Mark. Am a good you or am a gunman? Was he in the choir or was he in the club shooting people? I can't remember, Mark. Remind me, Mark.
Well, he definitely had fallen.
No, kid. No, man.
Well, you want me to come straight?
It squeaky clean, you know. Talk it raw, bridging.
Okay, yeah, he was on road.
Okay.
He's on road.
No disrespect to nobody, but I'm not gonna hold your hand around the fire and sing Kumbaya. Me not come on a bomber clock candlelight visual with you. No. Yeah? There's obviously this tree has many branches, and I know we're gonna get into it because there's many questions to ask, Mark. Was the promotion due to his actions with Chris Kaba that night, with all the public backlash? Or maybe he had some PTSD that we don't know about from the night? Because maybe that was his first time actually shooting someone in the line of duty. There's many questions to be asked, Mark. When you pull that thread, everything's going to unravel, man. But what you say, man?
I hear what you're saying, most definitely. And, you know, of course, we went over this in a few shows ago, actually, and we broke it down. But what it is, first of all, I'm not shocked that the officer has been promoted, because you actually said this, you know, Stephen. You're not actually giving yourself credit. You need to go back and listen. Yeah. I was going to try and do it today, but I didn't do it. But you actually said back on one of those episodes, you said, let me get it right. You said they'll probably give him a promotion.
Facts.
And there's, like you said, there's many branches to this, because why would we think that they'd give him a promotion if he has murdered a member of the public? And the reason for that, Stephen, is because I believe that from day one, the police knew how this thing would go. They knew that at the time, they couldn't really release certain information legally, and also based on the nature of the incident. But they knew that the day would come that it would cloud public opinion. And that's exactly what it did. So that police, you got to think about it. He got suspended. He may have been told, look, nothing's going to happen, or he may not have known. We don't know. Or they may have said, yo, you might go for a storm. We said this on the episode a few weeks ago. Mm-hmm. You might go for a storm, but on the other end of it, there's going to be a rainbow. And that's what I believe happened. Where they've said, yo, you've had to take you've took backlash for this, and you were at work. So now we're going to make sure you're good moving forward. I'm not shocked at all. I'm not surprised whatsoever. Like, we knew that once it was confirmed that Chris was on road, that the public's opinion would have been swayed. No matter what side of the fence that you're on, we knew the public would have found out that information and been like, damn, can I really stand behind that? And that's exactly what happened. If you got a crowd of 10 people, 7 started to change their mind. Like, hold on a second. Oh, that's what he was on, A, B, or C. So you got to think the police have probably just said, yo, don't worry about it. We're going to make up for, what you went through. And that's it. And this is why it's important to remember, though, Stephen, like, I don't understand where this type of thinking has came from, but it's important to remember that you're playing on a chessboard that doesn't belong to you. You're a guest. Like, a lot of men keep believing that they're going to get a fair shake. You're not going to. Like, Stephen said it many a times, and it couldn't be fair. This is just the facts. Like, puss and dog do not have the same luck.
Oh.
Like, a lot of people keep thinking that things are going to be a level playing field and all. It's not going to be that. Maybe so if you put yourself in a certain predicament, Just know that, innit? And as long as you know that, you'll be good.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I'll be real. Do I believe he deserved the promotion? You could say yeah, because on paper, take all emotion and feeling out of it, Mark. When you get to the grassroots of the conversation and the grassroots of the analysis of the whole situation, he did his job. Now, whether you want to argue, oh, nah, he didn't have to shoot him, blah, 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 blah. We don't know what the training is like. Those are armed police. Like, I feel like they would have more rights to shoot if they feel threatened or not. And then, I know everyone was saying, I don't really want to go over the case too much, but we're going to have to a little bit. So I'll just say this. I know a lot of people were saying like, oh, they didn't know he was in the car, but whether that's true or not, apparently that car was used in shootings or gang activity previously, then they've jumped out on you, you failed to comply, you're trying to ram cars and all of this. And then if you're doing that and then they've ID'd you, they've recognized and said, oh, that's Kaba, blah, blah, blah. He's known for XYZ, proceed with caution, known firearm carrier and user. Listen, I'm getting out of the car and laying on the ground, man. I'm not trying to catch a bullet, Mark. I'd rather do the time. So there's many factors that went on that night. Like if you gotta be honest, like all sides need to be held accountable, Chris included, man, because it could have been handled differently on both sides of the fence.
Definitely, it's one of those situations where every action has a reaction. And this is what I'm saying. Like, we got to get to a place, Stephen, where we're comfortable in communicating reality to each other. Like, I get it. A lot of people are upset. I get it. A lot of people feel that it's completely unfair how this has gone down. But we have to explain to all guys who want to play life and do it that way. Whereas, they want to be on road. You want to do all of these, be involved in crime, be involved in gangs. We have to take it back to the old school of having an understanding that ends one of two ways: in death or in prison. That has to be made crystal clear. No matter how this comes about, that has to be made crystal clear.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you understand that, you'll be good moving forward. But the officer involved in it, we always knew that it could have went this way, and that's the way it went. Based on facts, we have to look at the facts, and based on the facts, the argument became weak after the facts were released. There's no way they could really punish that officer. Like you said, Stephen, what has he actually... We're not talking... This is not us giving our personal opinion now,
Mm-mm.
Let's look in a court of law. In a court of law, after that case has now been dismissed, what reason have they got not to promote the officer? That's a better question to ask. For the folks who are angry, that's a better question to ask. What reason have they now got not to promote the officer? You see what I mean? The officer must have went through... I'm not saying that he went through any difficulty or anything like that, because he may have known. But they would have told him, yo, don't worry. On the other side of this, we'll make sure you're good. And that's exactly what's happened, innit?
Very true.
They was never going to bury him. Never. For what? Bury him for what? It wouldn't have made sense.
At all.
So this is the situation, man. You got to look at it like this. Like, take all emotion out of it and just look at it like, if you give them an excuse, they will take it. Simple as that. So from your on road and you've got a certain name and they've been advised to approach with caution, you're already in problems from that point, man.
Mark, it's true. People are still going to comment and they're still going to get upset and try and message and be like, nah, it shouldn't have got promoted and all of that. But that's why this show exists, man. We're able to objectively look at things and take emotion out of it, man, and use common sense. Like, people are overly emotional, man. Like, a lot of people aren't emotionally mature in life, meaning like you get drawn out easily, you get over-invested in things easily. Like, everything's a trigger for you. Everything sets you off. You feel like you're owed something. You feel like the whole world's against you. Our community is very guilty of this. And of course, to a large degree, it's true, but you can't walk around with this burden on your shoulders. And a lot of the time, you put it there yourselves. Something don't go your way, it's the system. Something don't go your way, oh, everyone's racist. Something don't go your way. Come on, man. Like, and a lot of the time, that can be true, but most of the time, these people complaining about these things, they don't put themselves in any kind of position to even face this backlash. You're just lying in bed, eating kebab, looking at the walls, watching
Facts.
DVDs from 25 years ago, talking about woe is me.
Yeah,
Babylon's
facts.
keeping me down.
Just bear excuse after excuse after excuse. Now we have to look at situations, and use them to learn from them. Now, with that situation, instead of us making excuses for those who fall sick with the sickness of gangs, the sickness of road, instead of us looking for excuses, let's look at ways to prevent the next generation. So I feel like that Chris Kaba case is an opportunity for people to give the factual reality of the situation. That's the best time to be able to discuss these things. That situation was a complete missed opportunity to teach the thugs or gangsters or criminals or whatever you want to label these men of tomorrow an opportunity to opt out of that lifestyle, Stephen. Because I'm going to give you another old school statement, old school saying, prevention's better than cure.
Oh,
Now, that case, if that's my brother or my cousin or somebody or no matter who, and I'm the spokesperson for that case, I'm saying, look, this started out as an individual who lived his life the right way, but somewhere along the line, his life, went off track. And this is the path it led him down, and it ultimately led him to where he is today. So for those of you out there who believe that this life is an option, please look at how it ended up for my dear family member or my dear friend, and it's going to most likely end up for you the same way. That was an opportunity right there to talk to the youth. But instead, Stephen, we've got a problem with a lot of people don't like this, but I'll say it, man. A lot of the youth workers, they're so busy looking for opportunities to take photos at events, opportunities to be known by rappers, or opportunities to be praised. They ain't actually trying to encourage change. They're too busy looking to attack those who are vocal about this type of thing that they do. You see what I mean? They're too busy focused on that. Whereas if they were focused on the actual issue, instead of finding excuses for these young men, we may have a different, situation right now.
But Mark, why do we feel that happens though? Do we feel like they genuinely believe it, or do they feel like they take the nonsense route of argument for engagement and clicks, or you feel to them just an idiot?
I think it's a little bit of everything, I think there's the different answer for all of them. A lot of them, they need engagement. So what they do is they push these excuses. We all know the famous excuse: no dad, no opportunities, no youth clubs. We always hear these different reasons, which are nonsense. None of these reasons are the reasons as to why these guys are out there doing what they do. Like, the real conversations are not being had in these spaces. And that's why the conversation sounds exactly the same today as it did 20 years ago.